beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome back. So I know I've already covered Inaros in the past in a previous video. However, in today's video we're taking a close look at the helmet system, particularly at elemental Inaros. So before I continue with the video, let's quickly talk about our merch store. So you guys know I have a merch store and we're selling caps, hoodies, t-shirts and a whole bunch of stuff. If you would like to support me or the channel any further, go and buy some merch. And if you guys do not do that, don't forget to tag me on my personal Instagram account at OneManArmyYigit or at OneManArmyYigit_merch, and we'll definitely do some shoutouts. And don't forget to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos, and let's do this. So I finally made a video on the helmet system, and let me just say I do apologize for this longer wait. I just want to wait and see until all the abilities get balanced, because I don't want to make a video and then just nerfs happen or changes happen and now that video becomes useless and a huge waste of my time. So that's why I preferred to wait. Now that we finally waited and things have been plus minus balanced, here's what is happening. So what I've done is I've essentially taken out Inaros' most underrated ability, that being Sandstorm, and I've replaced it with Chroma's Elemental Ward. Now the way that Elemental Ward works is basically based off of the color of your energy will determine what abilities you get. So for instance, as you guys can see, there's a description for heat, electricity, toxin and cold. So in this case we're going to be rolling around with red energy. Now remember, red energy will give me heat energy or give us heat. So when I have red energy equipped, what's going to happen is I'll get an increase in health, an increase in damage per second, and a small increase to status chance. Now the damage per second and status chance aren't really important and what make this build shine. The most important thing is the additional health. Now the reason why I put Elemental Ward on Inaros is because Inaros by default has no shields. He's just got one large health pool, and if you guys have been playing this game for a long time, you'll know that any form of method that gives Inaros even more health on top of all these mods will basically make him a lot more tankier. So with that being said, let's go over the build. Now like the usual, there isn't any Forma on this build because that's how I roll. So let's quickly go over the build. So for my aura, I am rolling around with Energy Siphon. If you guys don't know, Energy Siphon gives me continuous energy regeneration throughout the mission, because as you guys can see, my efficiency is at 70%, so I'll be needing as much as possible energy as I can get. Next we have Intensify and Blind Range for more power strength. Now because we've got Elemental Ward on, basically the more power strength we have, the more health Inaros will receive. Next up we've got ourselves a Primed Continuity for more duration. The reason why I want more duration is because we want Elemental Ward to last us as long as possible. Now having duration on some of your builds like Chroma or the way that Elemental Ward works, with the timer, basically will help you out with your efficiency. It gives Energy Siphon and Generic enough time to refill your energy. Next we're dealing with Gladiator Resolve and Vitality for an increase in health. Remember, Inaros does have a large health pool, so we obviously want to give him more hit points. We've also got ourselves Adaptation, which is basically a mod that adapts to any form of damage that comes towards you, whether it's impact, whether it's slash, whether it's corrosive. The point is you'll have 90% damage reduction. We've also got ourselves a Flow for a bigger energy pool. Now once again, we want a bigger energy pool, that way we don't restrict ourselves when it comes to our energy usage just for Elemental Ward. And finally we have an augment called Negation Swarm, and what Negation Swarm does is when you guys hold 4 or activate your Scarab Armor and it hits 100%, any form of status effects are negated, but the 100% icon will then be lowered 3% each time you negate a status effect. Very good. Some status effects can be really powerful, especially if the enemy is a lot higher ranked. And finally, on the Arcanes department. Now ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have Arcanes, it is not the end of the world. This build right here works like a charm, and I'll show you guys in just a minute. But basically when it comes to Arcanes, you want to be rolling around with Arcane Guardian for more armor, and finally an Arcane Grace for an increase in health regeneration. Now Arcane Grace gives you health regeneration if you take direct damage to your health. Inaros does not have any shield, so Arcane Grace will always just be proccing in, and the same can be said with Guardian. One thing that I do want to add is, if you want the most out of this build, I highly recommend you guys invest a ton of Forma and go and get yourself Inaros Prime. Now Inaros Prime does have more health than regular Inaros, so you'll also have that as a bonus. And also by adding Forma, what you guys can do is take out Energy Siphon if you feel like you don't need it, and replace that with Growing Power. Now remember what Growing Power does, it gives you additional power strength. Remember, the more power strength we have, the more hit points Inaros will have when you activate his elemental ward. And then when add like a V polarity for your blind rage, that way you can have the even more power strength, and then add a primed flow, and yeah, you guys are basically golden, assuming that you guys use this build. Remember, my builds are not the be all to end all of things, they are just a reference. This is how I like to play. Copy them if you feel like it's necessary, or make any changes that you feel that you guys do not need. So let me show you guys how this build performs. So first things first, before every mission, go and charge your Scarab armor to its full potential, because we want to take full advantage of Negation Swarm. Next things next, activate your number 3, that being your elemental ward. When you guys do this, you'll notice that your health is a little bit over 7,500 hit points, which is a lot actually. Now let me show you guys how well it performs against these heavily armored units. So sit back, relax, and watch everything just proc and protect me. So let these guys wind up with their machine guns, and as you guys can see, Arcane Grace, Adaptation, and Arcane Guardian are all procced along with Negation Swarm, and I'm basically not dying. Now usually before the arcane nerfs, these arcanes would be a lot more stronger and my health would not go below 3,000 or 4,000 hit points, but because of the rework to arcanes, this is the case. However, that does not mean it is weak, it just means that be more careful. The only downside when it comes to this build is the fact that arcane or not arcane, you have to remember to go and proc or reactivate elemental ward, because sometimes you'll go through the mission and not realize that, hey, I forgot to activate this. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's video. If you guys liked it or it's generally helped you, remember to leave a like on the video, and don't forget to spot and kick the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.